Welcome to Everyday Motherhood, the podcast that inspires you to pause, connect, and play more every single day. The podcast that's focused on you, the mom, to help you fill up your cup and rediscover the joy and love in your everyday life. We can't parent alone, and parenting is too serious to be serious all the time. Thanks for being here. My name is Christy Thomas. I am the founder and developer of PlayForLifeMoms.com. Let's jump in. I think this is a first. I am doing an episode for this week based on a Breathe With Me episode I did at the end of April. So I wanted to spin off of it because I think the idea is so important. If you haven't listened before, my name is Christy, and I love these solo episodes. I've been bringing you a lot of interviews and they are amazing. But I just wanted to rip and talk about an episode I did on Breathe With Me, which are the Tuesday episodes on April 28th. And it said, "My joy adds more joy to the whole world." And I think this is a really, can I say really one more time? Important idea to talk about right now as we're moving into summer, right? This first summer of a pandemic. How can you add more joy to your days? How can you reach for more joy? What can you add to add more joy? And before you throw rotten tomatoes at me, I want to say, I'm not asking you to go out and put yourself in harm's way. I'm not asking you to spend money. I am asking you to look for joy. Because I am a firm believer that joy is the feeling that we're all missing out on. That joy is better than happiness, and joy is like the feeling of love and awe. Of course, there's going to be other times for other feelings. Feelings like anger and frustration and sadness and grief. You can feel those feelings and they're valid. But when I'm angry, I just spew anger onto other people if I'm not controlled. When I'm angry, I add more anger to the world, which is sometimes needed. Sometimes anger is needed to cause a revolution. And sometimes sadness is needed to move on. So I'm not saying be falsely positive. I just want you to give yourself permission to lean into finding joy. To not downgrade it as a fluffy emotion. To not let yourself have the false idea that your suffering is needed because everyone else is struggling because of COVID-19. My challenge to you with this episode is to sit down and let yourself think about what brings you joy. Because when I add joy to my days, I also add joy to the whole world. And that's a huge gift to everyone around me. If I can add more joy to my day, then the mail person gets more joy when I wave. The neighbor walking their dog gets more joy because I'm more likely to tell them a horrible dad-style joke. My kids get more joy because my eyes light up more naturally when I see them. When I focus on joy in my days, I'm reflecting God's love more. And adding joy to my days doesn't mean I have to do more. It just means I get to notice more. I'm not saying that you have to become an amazing crafter or photographer, even though those things might end up bringing you joy. Maybe more joy in your day will be laughing until you cry watching one of those housewife shows. Whatever adds more joy to you will be part of you. But also by adding more joy to your days and modeling that in front of your kids, you're showing your kids and your family how to be a human, right? Like we all need to have more refuge in ourselves. We all need to figure out what makes our souls tick with joy, bloom with joy, maybe, and then add more of that to our days. But if our kids don't ever see us enjoying life and only see us doing the drudgery thing and getting angry and frustrated and sad and feeling lonely, then that's what they're going to think adulthood is. So let's focus on adding more joy, noticing more joy, really. You don't have to do more to find more joy. I want to say that again. I keep saying I want you to add more joy, but really to add joy, I just want you to pause and slow down and check in with yourself. Take a deep breath with me right now. Ready? Put your hand on your heart. Let's do it one more time. Okay, we'll do it a third time. And this time I want you to breathe in joy. Now tell me, speak out loud, what the first thing you thought of when you thought of joy right now. What would joy feel like in your body? And I thought of an epic dance party. So when I'm done recording this, I'm going to go have a dance party. If you want to tell me what your thing was, I would love for you to message me on Instagram or send me an email. All the contact information is in the show notes. But let's add more joy to the world right now. Let's give our kids permission to add more joy to the world. I think the idea that we can't have more joy goes back to like the idea that you have to eat all your food because there are kids starving in Africa. You can't leave the table because, someone's starving. You can't feel happy in this horrible moment in history because someone else is suffering. This doesn't make sense, does it? So let's start helping the world heal by adding and noticing more joy in our days. Okay, today's self-care is for you to take 5 pictures of beautiful things. I may have done this before, but I don't really care. The best things need to be repeated often. So find 5 beautiful things today and take photos. Share them on Instagram if you're a huge fan of the gram like me, or just text to a friend, to your mom. Find 5 beautiful things. Like slow down, try to compose the picture. Maybe Google iPhone photography tips or, smartphone photography tips, whatever it is. Find the joy, notice it, because I'm confident that it's there. And then for your kids, for your family play idea, there's this game that my kids and I just discovered called 5 Dots. You need a blank sheet of paper and pencils for everybody. Everyone needs their own paper. Draw 5 dots anywhere on the page. Okay, each person draws 5 dots on the blank page in front of them. And those 5 dots are going to be passed to another person. And with those 5 dots, you need to draw a head, arms, and feet. You need to draw a person or a being of some sort, okay? But the head, hands, and feet have to be those 5 dots. So however that other person drew them, you're stuck. And it's hilarious. Oh my goodness. We had so much fun drawing this. We did splits. I'll post some of these on my Instagram today when this episode goes live. I hope you have a great weekend. And I hope that you can take a moment on Monday and say a prayer for the families that are missing their loved ones on the American Memorial Day. I'm not going to say to you to have a happy Memorial Day anymore. I want you to be aware of the somberness of the day. So on Monday, join me on taking a moment of silence and saying a prayer the parents that are missing their kids, the kids that are missing their parents. Let's take a moment and remember those people. They mattered. The military isn't a big mass group. When we say the troops, it's not a real thing. What Memorial Day is for is remembering a bunch of single individuals who leave behind families that are now an elite group called Gold Star families. So remember them. You are the right parent for your kids, and your kids are the right kids for you. If you want to continue the conversation, please find our Facebook group, Everyday Motherhood Podcast Fans. All the information's in the show notes. I'll see you. Bye.